Well, this coronavirus thing is getting real. Cooper stuff! What's up, people? We're going to talk about coronavirus and what it all means and where do we go from here. But first, I do want to ask a question. This ain't about stroking my ego. Honestly, I want to know what you think. I would like to do a poll. I need to find out. Would you prefer to see Cooper stuff once a week, which is what I'm doing now for the last 2 months? Every Monday, we release Cooper stuff. Or would you prefer to do it maybe once every 2 weeks? Because let's just face it, I talk a lot. You're probably getting quite enough of my voice. Even my wife gets tired of hearing me. Believe it or not, she does. You do. She does. So let me know, and then we're going to jump right up in here to Cooper stuff. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cooper stuff. This is an interesting week because it's coronavirus time over here in the States and everywhere in the world, pretty much. We are here in a hotel room. Look at this beautiful painting behind me. I don't know what that... Yeah, it's like a boat or something. Anyway, we're stuck in this hotel room. You may hear some of my kids come in or Corey run in. Who knows? We are here stuck because we finally, unfortunately, had our first show cancel in Albany. And I'm so very, very disappointed about it. We're going to have a great show there, but the state came in and instituted stuff, so it's really affecting. So I want to talk today about a little bit of the reaction to coronavirus, what it makes me think of. But don't worry, I'm not going to try to get scientific on you guys. You know, I don't know nothing about that. I can teach you about chord structures, rock and roll history, Marvel comics in the 1980s and early 90s mainly. A little bit of the Bible. Other than that, I'm not going to tell you what's up with this coronavirus thing. But basically, here's what I want to say about that we're falling into two kinds of people. Now, most of the people watching Cooper stuff are in America, and obviously it has not hit America in the same way that it has a lot of the rest of the world. For us Americans, by the way, for anybody who's in Italy watching, for us Americans, when we see like the video footage of what's happening in Italy, it's completely freaky, and we feel bad for you people, and we're praying for you people. So we hope that things really, get turned around for y'all. It looks insane over there, like freaky, like a zombie film or like a science fiction, So for America, it's not been exactly the same. For a lot of Americans, it's been a little bit like, we know this terrible thing's happening, but it hasn't affected us uber personally. No one that I know knows anyone personally who has the coronavirus or like a family member or anything like that. So it's a little bit like two kinds of things going on. You have a lot of people that are really freaking out and are like, shut everything down. Then you have the other people that are a little like, we don't really... this doesn't really affect us. Maybe everybody's panicking, whatever. So listen, I'm not telling anybody what you should do. I just want to give you my 2 cents on the whole thing. And I just feel like I'm too dumb to make up my own rules. So if people tell me not to do a show, then the show's canceled. Nothing I can do about it. But I am not in particularly like a real germaphobe person. There's a lot of germaphobe people out there, especially musicians. A lot of singers like hate touching people because they're always like, I'm going to get sick. And I'm just a people person. I like meeting folks and I like shaking hands and hearing your stories. So I'm not prone to that kind of thinking. So I'm a little bit like, it'll probably be fine. I'm not saying that's the smartest way to be. I'm telling you that's kind of the way that I've dealt with it. Well, this week in America, it's clearly changed. We have like, NBA shutting down, NCAA. I mean, it's Google's, shut their thing down. I saw someone from Sirius, their whole building in Sirius is shut down. So everything is actually really happening now. I believe that Live Nation has canceled all their tours. I saw that my good friends Papa Roach shut down the rest of their tour in Europe, I believe. Or some of their tour. I can't remember how many of the shows they shut down, but I saw it on Instagram. And so it's really getting real for lots of reasons. So let me say this first. There are a lot of people in the world that are, suffering quite literally from this. people are dying from it. People that know people personally and their family that are getting very sick and things like that. That, of course, is its own like terrible thing that most Americans haven't had to deal with as of yet. What we're starting to see in America now, of course, is we're starting to see a lot of economic things that are going to be happening because we're shutting down a lot of travel and things and a lot of businesses. My business here, because I play concerts, is beginning to be shut down. So there are economic ramifications for that. Thirdly, even for people that don't suffer on the number one or number two, even in America, there's this thing where maybe we're suffering from things that we enjoy doing, like our normal way of life, right? Like in the city that I live in, I saw pictures where people are like, there was no more toilet paper, there was no more Lysol, there's no more cans of soup. Everybody's freaking out and grabbing all the peanut butter. I love peanut butter, by the way. It's my personal opinion that chocolate and peanut butter is one of the best matches in all of human history, okay? Besides me and Corey. You know it. You know it, baby. All right. She's laughing. I can hear her laughing. I love you. Anyway, we're good. We're like chocolate and peanut butter. She's the chocolate. I'm salty because I sweat so much. So listen, that's disgusting. But the point is, a lot of people are suffering from things, like not doing your normal life, going to the grocery store. What do I do about my groceries? If you take away a lot of things that people love, like sports, like music, like art, all of a sudden, a lot of people feel like those are the things that make life worth living for. Now they're telling you, like, don't hug anybody, don't hug your family. I'm not going to stop hugging my family. That's just the way it is. So there's a lot of things happening here. Here's what I want to say to all the people watching Cooper's stuff. Number one, yes, it's true that we've not really seen anything quite like this in years and years. In my lifetime, I can't remember ever really seeing anything like this. But this isn't the end of the world. It's going to pass. For anybody that was in the first camp I talked about earlier, like freaking out, shut it all down, never talk to another human being again. For those of you who are freaking out like that, this is going to pass. They're going to figure it out. There's way too many smart people in the world. They're going to figure out what they need to do. It's going to take a little time. It's going to be a little hard. It's going to be a little painful, but we are going to get through it. And, I want to say to people that are suffering in the greatest way, which is from death, family members that may have died, people that are extremely sick, we are praying for you. And even though at the moment most Americans can't relate to that, we may yet. It's just hard to know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So it's natural to freak out. You always freak out about things that you don't understand. But we are going to get through this. For the third kind of people, I'm skipping number two for a reason. The third kind of people that are just your way of life is suffering. I hear you. It sucks. But we're going to get through it. It's going to take some time. It's going to be fine. Concerts will be back on. Your favorite bands will come back and play. But I know that it really stinks. For me, music and going to concerts with the people that I love, or going to a sporting event with people that I love, my family, taking my kids to a concert or something like that is one of the best things in life. To me, those are the things that make life really worth living and enjoying these things. So it's real. It's going to be bad, but let's all hope and pray that it's going to figure itself out in the next few months. For the second kind of people that maybe are suffering on the economic side, as I mentioned, things with Skillet are fine, so I'm not complaining. I'm just giving you a picture into my life. That is going to affect us in a way that I was not planning for. All of a sudden, you got gigs booked, and without gigs, you don't have any money coming in. I have 15 employees. I've got 2 buses. I have all these things to think about financially. Again, I'm not saying that like I think I'm some victim. I'm not a victim. I'm telling you that to say that for a lot of you guys, this economic feeling of what is this going to mean for my job, for all sorts of things, the food industry, or if you work on tips, or if you work by the hour, grocery stores, public events, if you serve food at coliseums where they have basketball games. There's a lot of reason to freak out on the economic side for a lot of people, and I just want you to know that I can relate to that in a certain way. I think what I want to share is this. This is my biggest topic. years and years ago, I was having dinner with one of my pastors, 20 years ago or something, or more. And we were talking, and I was talking about, well, man, I made all these plans, and this is what I'm going to do, and it's going to work out. And I remember my pastor's wife saying to me, she said, well, John, you know that, like, man makes his plans, but the Lord directs his paths. You know that. And I said, no, that's awesome. Where did you hear that? And she's like, it's the Bible. So I was like, oh, I see. It's the Bible. No wonder it's so good. For those of you who don't necessarily believe in the Bible or read the Bible or know much about it, the Bible isn't just good stuff, okay? The Bible isn't just like axioms. It's not just like, like if your parents were leaving town and they gave you rules like, hey, always have a firm grip on a handshake. Never wear khakis with a black shirt. It's not just good advice. The Bible is God's words. It is Him personally writing His words to me and to you. So when you read the Bible, it's like God was saying it because He did say it. It is actually God's words, okay? So what she said to me again, and this is from the Bible, man makes his plans, but the Lord directs his paths. And I really love that because I'm kind of a planner. And I like going, okay, here's the income that I have coming in, and I like to make this plan, then we do this tour, and then I can hire these people to come in and set up pyrotechnics for me, and they'll come in and set up video, and then I'll spend a little bit more money over here. All of a sudden, guess what happens? Coronavirus, what is it? It's not from beer, by the way. I saw that on the news. Some people thought that the coronavirus was from Corona beer. Not true. Anyway, all of a sudden something like this comes in and it shakes up everything that we had planned. And we don't like that as humans because we like feeling that we are in control of our lives. And I think what I want to encourage, especially you people of faith, and is for us not to forget that we don't actually control our lives. I mean, we make decisions, but we can't make the sun come up tomorrow. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about a crazy fatalism, or as some of you know, my strong Calvinist leanings that I have. I'm not trying to talk about we don't control our lives because we're robots. I'm saying we can't make the sun come up. We can't make coronavirus not appear and wreck the economic industry. And because of globalism, coronavirus is overtaking the planet in a matter of 2 months, right? So we don't control these things. God is in control of these things. I think what happened was really difficult about lordship, I find in my life, and I don't know if you're the same, I prefer trusting myself to trusting God. What? It's ridiculous, and I'm admitting it to you, not because I'm proud of it. I'm admitting it to you because I have a feeling a lot of you might be like, yeah, that's probably me too. This has been the greatest struggle of my life. Okay, some people struggle with alcohol abuse or whatever, chemical substances, pornography, addiction, whatever. Those aren't the things that I struggle with. What I struggle with is trusting God. I don't like it. I don't like having to not know where my meal tomorrow is coming from. And I don't like knowing how my bills are going to get paid. I don't like going, I feel the Spirit's leading me to do X, Y, and Z. But I don't know what that means for next year. I don't like that feeling at all. And you know what? It's actually sin. Because when we trust ourselves over trusting God, what we are actually saying is, God, I think that I can meet my needs better than you can meet my needs. And in the end, that's basically idolatry, okay? That's what it means to serve another God besides the God of the Bible. Basically serving myself. I think I can do a better job. I think I'm smarter. I like the way I do stuff more. So trusting God is a real difficult thing. And I want to encourage Christians that we need to learn to get to a place, me included, especially me, okay? We need to learn to get to a place to where we are not just okay with trusting God, but to where we enjoy trusting God. Because the truth is, God is a lot better at meeting our needs than we are. We prefer to do it because it makes us feel in control, but actually, He's a lot better at meeting our needs than we are. He promises us that He will. The Bible says, basically, even if the birds of the air have food to eat, if God takes care of the birds, how much more do you think that He will give you good gifts, that He will take care of His children? We are God's children. Birds are not His children, okay? We are His actual children, so He's going to meet our needs. A lot of people don't know that I am, because of my personality, I'm really up and I'm very optimistic. And you may have noticed that I'm hyper. You ever notice that one? All right. I have a lot of energy. And people, I think, because of that, they probably don't know how much of a natural worrier I am. Now, I'm not really anymore, but I used to be. God has really changed me in that sense. But you ask my wife about the first the first 10 or 12, 13 years of our marriage, I was constantly worried. I would in the middle of the night, have you ever, some of you probably grind your teeth in the night, you know what I mean? Some of you probably like do that, and you start, they're going back and forth in your sleep because you're stressing out. You know that dream that people have when they stress out where they grind their teeth and all your teeth crumble inside? Oh, it's a hard, woo! I hate that dream. I used to have that dream at least 8 times a month. And my dentist used to give me things to put in my mouth when I sleep, and I would wake up and just gnaw them to death. Because I was always stressed about money. I was stressed about taking care of my family, stressed about what kind of man I was going to be if I didn't have a college plan for my kids. I used to stress out so much. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night like, oh, I forgot to place this t-shirt order for Skillet Tour shirts, and the tour starts in 10 days. And I didn't order the cables I was supposed to order. And I used to be so bad at trusting God until I finally just like relinquished control to Him. I just was like, God, I cannot do this on my own. I hate myself that I'm this way and that I want to trust myself more than I trust you. God gave me an amazing freedom when I began to trust Him over trusting myself. And now I have this little thing that we call joy. And joy means that even when coronavirus comes in and wrecks all of your tour plans, or your food industry, or your shipping industry, wherever it is that you work, your travel industry, whatever your job is, these things come in and feel like they're going to take control and just ruin us. It ruins your plans, but God is directing your paths. And that is a really wonderful, peaceful place to be in, because God is going to be so much better at meeting your needs than you are going to be. Take it from me, I used to try to meet all my own needs, and all it caused me was stress, and I did a bad job of it. Then God came in and He fixed it all, right? So obviously, I'm not saying that we don't have to work hard. Yes, you need to work hard. Don't be lazy. Get off the couch and do some work. Yes, you got to do your part. You got to be a good steward of what God gives you. But in the end, it's not actually me that takes care of me. It's actually God who takes care of me. He is the giver of gifts, right? Every good gift and every perfect gift comes from the Father of lights, what the Bible says. Woo, that's what the Bible says. So it's what God says. It's His word. Second thing I want to say about coronavirus, and this would go to people of faith, but I want to say this to maybe people who aren't religious, or maybe don't have faith, or maybe you don't know where you stand, and that is this, that when these things happen, they should cause us as humans, all of us, we're all going through different levels of suffering, as I said, during this coronavirus, different levels of what it cost you, of how this is going to affect you. When these things happen, it should cause us to realize that we need the foundation of our lives to be built on something that lasts, okay? It can't be built on economics, because as we see right now, economics aren't going to last. You can make all your plans, make all the best business decisions, and coronavirus comes in and it destroys it, or the housing crisis of 2008. Or what have you, the stock market crash. Something's going to come in and is going to wreck your foundation, because those things weren't actually meant to last, okay? Maybe your foundation is in your marriage. I'm all about having a good marriage. If you're married, I think it's great to try to build your life upon that, but not ultimately. Because if it is your ultimate foundation, it will absolutely crumble, because your marriage foundation needs to be built on a deeper foundation. And that's what we have in God. God is the only thing that never changes. There's nothing else on earth that never changes. God is the only thing that never changes. He is the only thing that is absolutely faithful to His word. Everything that He says will be, and He will never go back on His word. That is why when these things happen, I say we can have joy, because Joy is not dependent on your circumstances. Joy isn't dependent on if the bills got paid or not, or if everything worked out with the way that you had planned. Joy is something that is deeper, that even in the midst of the trials, you know that there is the promise of joy. And that is what we have in Christ. And that's the reason that I can be very optimistic, even when things aren't looking like the way that I planned. I can say, you know what? It sucks. Let's don't lie about it. It sucks. But I have joy. My foundation is secure, and there is something that I have built my life on that absolutely never changes. Guess what, young people? It's not social media. That crap's going to change over and over and over. If you're building your life on social media, you won't last very long at all. If you're building your life on what your friends think about you, or the way, in your mind, the way you think they think about you, which in like psychology they call like the looking glass theory, right? If that's what you're building your life on, your life is going to crumble. If it's built on how much money you've got, crumble. If it's built on who's going to be in the president next year, crumbled. Nothing else will last except the word of the Lord, which stands forever. So if you don't know Jesus, if you're not religious, if you're looking for something to build your life on, I want to encourage you, find faith in the Lord, find hope in the Lord, find joy in the Lord. Everybody out there, whether you're religious or not, remember, this coronavirus thing is going to pass. We're all going to be okay. Your favorite bands will be back on the road, probably Skillet. Oh! And I can't wait to see you guys out there. Take care of your loved ones. Be safe. If the government tells you not to go to the show, don't go to the show. If they cancel it, don't fight it. Do what they tell you to do. Let's get this thing back fixed so everybody can go back to a normal life very soon, I pray and I hope. Thank you guys so much for watching Cooper Stuff. Don't forget, tell people about the Cooper Stuff. Later. Cooper Stuff!